And rolling.
Hello.
I'm rolling.
Hal, you are like the granddaddy of all the communities, as you call them, the hotspots, the zones.
Yeah, I'm the Uncle Roy. And that's amazing, huh? On television, it was just Roy and Gloria. There's no uncle. But the people, they want relationship. So they put the uncle in. So for people in Trinidad, I'm Uncle Roy.
And sometimes you're father to the boys in the neighborhood.
Well,
in the hood,
a lot of times father.
Yeah.
You know, and they've taught me more about fatherhood than, you know, you understand some things about fatherhood from your own children. But when people whose fathers have deserted them come to you, and you realize that being a father is more than taking responsibility for your biological children, but taking responsibility for the children who look up to you, then you really have to do a double take on what you think you are and what you think you are responsible for. So that for all the youths who look up to me, then I have to be worth looking up at.
Why have you taken on
Well,
this?
it's not me taking it on, you know. They come to me.
Okay,
And
no,
if the youths come to you,
I'm going to come back to
you can't just drop them.
Nope, I'm going to finish my question. Why have you taken on this challenge, it's not a burden, because I know you don't see it as a burden, this weight of carrying all these young men in all these communities when so many other people prefer that they go to jail or that you lock them away?
Two things. Back to what I said earlier. And two, they're not going to solve anything. A man in jail is just there for a while. But because they could still call somebody from jail, they could still impact. So that if you want what's around you to be changed for the positive, then you have to be the positive. I believe spiritually we have to be salt. Salt is never afraid of the rice that is out there. If you are truly salt, your very being and existence will change and transform those who come into contact with you. And if in your spirit you're salt, then you're not afraid of whatever is out there. Whatever out there, when it meets you, it will become salty.
You have spent so many years in Laventille understanding it and even mentoring other people. You showed me the way in as well. But you wrote a book about it because you felt it important enough to document. Tell me about the book. Let's start with the name.
The portal.
Why that name?
Laventille is really Laventille. When the Spaniards ruled here, there was a guest house. The exact location, I'm not sure of. I've been able to find anybody who knows exactly where it is. The Spaniards would stop off at the port of Spain before journeying on to the capital in St. Joseph. And some of them would take a rest at the guest house. The owners of the guest house felt that it was as if the sky opened and breeze from another space would blow in through a window, a vent, a Laventille. The guest house is forgotten, the owners are forgotten, but the vent, the portal, Laventille remains. The book is about the portal, the Laventille that remains.
A very complex history from what I understand. Complex beginnings.
And because the beginnings of Laventille is complex, we keep trying to frame it in a modern political context. Laventille is older than the political parties. Laventille is so rich and so attached to who we are that not understanding Laventille means that you're not going to understand who you are as a Trinbagonian, and also means that you can't solve the problems that you face because you don't know where they begin. We keep starting to solve from the wrong place. So you never get to the end because you didn't start at the beginning. There were two free towns. One, the free town in Upper Belmont, and there was the Yoruba village between where is now John and Bath Street. Those two communities of runaway slaves and free Africans. The British tried to control. They cut their amenities. They tried to starve those communities. And a spirit of resistance built up in those communities. By the 1880s, some of them were mocking the French plantocracy. And instead of just performing the Cambole in the village, they wanted to come into Port of Spain. And it's on the Piccadilly Greens that we have this whole thing about our Cambole. So we celebrate the Cambole at the beginning of the carnival, but we don't celebrate the people of East Port of Spain, the Rada people, the people from the Freetown and the Yoruba village. The people who created the festival, we forget. We move out of our consciousness, but we take the festival from them. And that's what we keep doing with Laventille. But it is these people of East Port of Spain that created the carnival. What's interesting is not just that they defied the British and that they were able to defeat the British police, but when the governor allowed them to play themselves for 2 days, it's never stopped. And it's become a festival that's global. Brazil, their carnival is bigger. There's only one Rio Carnival. New Orleans, their carnival is bigger. There's only one. There's 64 Trinidad carnivals at the last count I heard. What started in Laventille becomes global. What comes out of that portal doesn't just take control of this space, but it spreads. When they created the pan, and again, it's East Port of Spain, so you have panyards everywhere, and you celebrate the pan, you call it your national instrument. But the people who gave you the pan, you don't even call them nationals. You're calling them small islanders. Laventille was here before the people came from Grenada and St. Vincent. Laventille was here. We don't know the place. We don't know the space. So much of our creativity and the essence of who we are, but also so much of our pain and shame is coming out of that place. And until we understand, so people told me their stories. A lot of the bad boys said, Uncle Roy, sit down. I want to tell you how I come so. Uncle Roy, I want to tell you how I end up in this. And I took all the stories of their fathers, and weaved the stories into a tapestry, a complex tale. Roy and Gloria, people looked at us on television, and we told stories of family life. People looked at the stories and they pulled the truth from it. We never said, this is a reality. This is a reenactment of somebody's life. We were telling a story. And in that story, if you're true to the context of people's life, if you're true to what people experience, then from that story, people draw truths they could live by. I'm trying to be true to the stories that were told to me. And from those stories, I hope that Trinidad draws a context to understand Laventille, to understand the gangs, the violence, to understand the Steelman Wars, to understand the pain, the alienation, and to try not just to help Laventille and Trinidad heal, but to prevent other communities from becoming new Laventilles. The pain of Laventille is recolonizing other communities so that the Malonis and the La Hoquetas, the Enterprise, so many spaces far from Laventille are becoming Laventille because we're not doing anything to plug the portal.
Let me ask you this. How much of it would you say is due to or spawns from gun violence in Jamaica? Since we are some years behind Jamaica, and since Jamaica is one of the most murderous places per capita in the world, so do you think that we are emulating Jamaicans because there's that connection with dancehall and the dancehall artists being connected with gun violence as well?
There is a connection. coming from Jamaica. It also flows both ways, so that you have even Jamaican dancehall artists who come down here, learn, and then go back. The Jamaican experience is connected to their politics. The experience of Laventille may use politics, but their turf wars, their battles have nothing to do with politics.
No, but hold on. In the same way that Jamaica's gang violence has moved away from being political, it started being political.
Yes.
It is the same way that here, arguably, the young men will tell you that they were armed by politicians, that the guns arrived in Laventille via politicians, but that it's moved away now to gun and drug turf wars.
Now, they argue that, and politicians may have brought in additional guns, but politicians didn't bring the first guns. Back in the 50s, when the first machine gun in Laventille was owned by somebody right up here in St. Babs, there were, even the PNM wasn't created yet. Laventille, the weapon of choice was the white handle razor and the thunderbolt. 1990 brought a significant change. In 1990, the impact of the coup was that Laventille learned that Trinidad, David Rudder calls it Uzi diplomacy. That if you have a big enough machine gun, you could negotiate with the government and win. We look at the Jamat in the West and we don't ask, where did the men come from? The men came from East Port of Spain, Laventille. And Laventille learned that if you hold guns to the head of Trinidad, you'd walk free. Laventille learned gun power. And if you look at the statistics, it is post-1990 that the gun murders just took off. Laventille has learned that Trinidad is afraid of the gun. And Trinidad will do anything to facilitate gunmen. Men with guns don't need politicians or anybody else to speak for them. Because if I have guns, you will come to speak to me. What we're trying to do is to say a gun does not bring all the solutions that you seek.
No, but hold on. When you have guns, okay, then you are used by businessmen and business people and people in places who want you to commit acts for them that they can't commit themselves. And then, like a rabid dog, you become almost untouchable because you've committed acts for certain people. You hold secrets, in other words. The guys tell you that.
Right, and they went through that. But there's been a change. Because when you own big enough guns, you can start threatening those people who are your masters.
That's my point, and therein lies the problem.
No, and you see, it's a problem for us. It's not necessarily a problem for them. So that the gangs have moved from
us being on which side of this divide?
Us being the normal citizen.
Okay.
And now you have gangs that no longer under anybody's easy control, but able to wield power and negotiate through their guns. Laventille is not about dealing with drugs. Laventille is not even about dealing with guns. It's about dealing in terror. They understand the terror they cause in other people, and they understand that too many people will placate them by throwing things at them, whether business, government, and that power they wield, they know it's real. If you block the road, somebody will come to talk to you. But if you block the road in south, you can be ignored because you don't own the threat of escalating the blocking of the road to beginning to shoot at people as they pass on the road. They have that power that they don't need to use. They may not even intend to use it, but the reality is because the fear is there, you have utilities that are afraid to come in.
And quite rightly so in some instances.
Right, because Laventille isn't afraid to use the power. We've become a country where the good people, and I'm using that word in quotation marks, are so afraid of the power of the gun that it's become even the good people's desire. I want a gun. The commissioner is blocking me. I need to get my own gun. So when the good people crying out for guns, how do you get a bad boy to put down his gun when you want a gun?
Yeah, but hold on. Well, you want a gun for protect yourself, because a lot of people think if I get a knife, if I get a man, you know,
Marcia, that is nonsense.
I am
that
not
is
saying
like
it makes sense,
no,
but I'm saying
because
it is the truth.
It's not a truth.
It
because
is the truth that
no,
white people want guns.
Yes.
I've considered getting
right.
a gun.
So
legitimately.
A boy has a big pit bull, and you say, right, I had to get a dog, and you buy a pompek. Right, so my pompek will rush that pit bull,